to 10, right? So over here all the classes are 100% live and interactive classes. So any sort of doubt or confusion if you have regarding the topic, you can ask to your teacher in the classes only, and he or she will explain everything in the classes. So secondly, we give personalized attention to each and every students of our batches, because our batches consist of maximum number of 6 students, not more than that. So it may be like 1 student or 2 student or 4 or 5 to 6 students maximum there will be in the batches. So it will help you to understand all the concept properly, and if you have any sort of doubt you can ask definitely. And also it helps the teachers to keep an eye on each and every students and understand how the students are understanding each and every concept, right? Thirdly, we have a very good dedicated academic mentor team who continuously track on the students progress. So how the students are doing the homework, how they are performing in the class, in which topic they are lagging, which topic they are already good with it. So these are all like tracked by the academic mentor team, and accordingly you will get the feedback. With the help of the feedback you will be able to improve yourself, right? And the fourth thing which we have is we cover all the syllabus as per your school examination schedule, as well as we also handle the different custom requests. So what type of custom request? If you say like this topic is going in my school and I want to do this topic first, right? So we will do those topic to with you in the classes, Swiflearn classes, and then only you will be able to, then we will go to the rest of the topic. So this type of custom request generally we handle. So these are the general features of Swiflearn, and let us find out what are the key features, right? So our first key feature is we maintain a detailed progress report of each and every student, and this report goes to you in like different intervals, and there will be the PTM monthly test. These are all present within the Swiflearn, right? So in this progress report it is detailed, because all how you are doing in the class, how you are understanding each and every topic, how you are performing each and in each and every topic of all the subjects, how you are doing the homework, whether you are attending the classes properly or not, everything is present within this report, and this will go to your parents, and we will do the PTM according to that, and definitely you will be able to understand where you were lagging and you can improve yourself, right? Secondly, we have the Swiflearn academic test series, which in short we call as the SAT, which happens in every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can like perform over there, and you will be able to understand where you are actually ranking all over India, right? So and your ranks and everything will be going to the leaderboard, right? Secondly, thirdly, which we have is we have a lot of practice test according to all the topics which you have in your classes in each of the grades and of the different subjects. So you can perform the unlimited practice test. You can practice all those test series which contain both the objective and subjective types of questions. So in case of objectives, definitely there will be like the MCQs, filling the blanks, match the column, true, false, and so on, right? You will be able to understand about the concept also. Again and again you can give the test. And also we have the subjective test. So before going to the school exam or your board exam, you will be able to practice all the subjective answers. So this is also very important to write all the key words within the subjective answers, right? We generally lose marks over there, right? So we have a very good group of teacher who will be able to tell you how to write the answer, where to include the diagram or not, whether you have to include the graph or equation related to the any of the specific subjects. So you will be able to prepare those, and you will score more definitely in the school exam and the board exam. So these are the key features of Swiflearn. So experience all these features, what you have to do, you have to book a free trial class, and please book a free trial class, because admission is going on for the new session, as you already know and you are already doing, I guess, right? Yes, and experience all this with Swiflearn. So stay with Swiflearn, and I guess you have already subscribed our channel. If not, please subscribe our channel and press the bell icon, and you will never miss any of the update of the upcoming classes, right? Okay, so stay with Swiflearn and stay with us. Please like, comment, and share with your friends and family members, so that they can also come to know about Swiflearn as well as all the different classes we are doing over here, right? So today our main topic of discussion is cell. This is the very first topic of biology. Just after what is biology, we will come to know about the cell, because cell is the fundamental unit of life, as you already know, which is included in class 9th syllabus of ICSE, right? So in this topic we will study about a lot about the cell. So where cell is present in the living things or the non-living things? You already know that cells are present in the living organisms, right? Only. So we will study about the cell and the cell theory in this chapter. Hi Anubhav, how are you? Okay, so today in today's session, we will mainly discuss about the cell. What is the cell? What is it made up of? What is the structure and function of the cell? And why it is known as the basic or the fundamental unit of life? This also we will discuss. So this is all about the cell. Then we will come to know about the invention of the microscope. Who invented it? And what type of microscope we generally use in our biological lab, right? And what are the different parts of the microscope? These also we will come to discuss, right? Then we will study about the discovery of the cell. Hi Avilash. Okay, thank you. Okay, so discovery of the cell. Who discovered the cell? What type of cell he discovered, and what type of cell he first observed, and what it actually came to his mind, the scientist's mind, after looking into the cell under the microscope. This will I will discuss today, and definitely the history of the cell, history of the discovery of the cell, and then we will study about the cell theory. This is also very important. Who were the scientists who first discovered the cell theory and gave a proper explanation to the cell? What is a cell, whether it is a structural or the functional, and how why it is the structural and functional, all we will discuss about this. And what are the main tenets of this cell theory, we will study this. Okay, so I guess you all are ready for the class. Yes, so in between the class, definitely I will ask you many questions, so try to like carefully listen to the questions and write down the answer in the chat box, as you already do in all the classes, all the sessions. So as you already know that I will write down the name of the student as the student of the session at the end of this session, right? Okay, so let's start with the cell. So first you see in this picture, so I guess you have all played with the different Lego blocks, right? When you were a little bit younger. Yeah, and definitely now also you can play with your siblings or your parents sometimes, right? Yes. So what are actually present within this Lego blocks, and what is actually made with it? Any idea? Yes, Anubhav, Avilash. Yes. So we can see these are the different blocks of the different colors and having the different shapes and sizes, right? So when we are attaching these blocks with one another, we are making the different types of structure. Whether it is a different structure of a bridge or a vehicle, a toy vehicle we can see, or a very small toys of different things like the duck or the different types of birds, or we can make the whole house, or we can make the castle over here, you can see, right? So these are the Lego blocks which are attached with each other or arranged properly in different manner to make a proper structure to anything. Right? So similarly, what happened in our body, like the Legos, definitely there are the very small building blocks which are present, which are known as the cells. So in each of the blocks of the Legos, you have already seen that they are giving, when they are arranged with each other, they are giving a proper structure, right? Very good, very good, Anubhav. Yes, cell is the structure of our body. Very good. So when they are arranged properly in different manner, they are giving a proper structure to the thing. Whether it is a castle or a vehicle or a building, whatever it is, right? And similarly, when the cells are also attached with each other, they are giving a structure to the living organism. Just think about your room. Yeah, where you are sitting now and watching my video. So, in your room, what is it made up of? It is made up of the four walls, and definitely there must be one or two windows and doors are also present, right? So if you go deeply into the wall, do you know what is the wall made up of? Yes, from outside you just get to know about the different colors of the wall, right? So in between the wall, what is present? There are the different bricks, right? So when the bricks are arranged in a proper manner and they are attached with each other with the help of the cement, we can say, and over that the plaster of Paris is there, and over there the different types of color you have made of your wall, right? So we can say over here the wall is made of the particular type of building blocks, which are the bricks, right? So when bricks are arranged with each other to give a proper structure to the room, we can say that the bricks are the building block of the wall. right? Similarly, when the cells are making, when they are arranged with each other to make a tissue or whatever it is, we will come to know what are the different level of organization of the living organism. So when they are arranged with each other, they become the building block of our body. Understood? So not only our body only, definitely the cells are the building block of all the living organism, whether it is a very small microscopic organism, whether it is a bacteria or virus, or we can say the fungi or algae, or it can be any sort of plant, starting from the very small grasses to the tall trees, or it can be the very small animals like the insects, or a very big animal like the elephant or giraffe, right? So all their bodies are made up of the cells. So up to this much you have understood, I guess. Yes, cements and bricks are the building block of the world. Very good, Anubhav. Okay, so up to this much, any query? Yeah. So you already have an idea what are cells and what are their cells made up of. They are made up of the different parts. We will come to know about those different parts which are known as the cell organelles, right? So all our organ systems are also made up of the cell. So let me give you a very small idea, what is a very basic idea, what are our living organism made up of. So the basic fundamental unit of our body is the cell. Okay, now when all the cells are arranged with each other and performing a function, a particular function, they make up the tissue. Okay, now these tissues, when a different types of tissues are arranged with each other to perform again a specific function, they make up the organ. Fine. Now there are different organs. If I say what are the organs? Yes. Can you name some of the organs? Yes, Anubhav. Like small intestine, large intestine, heart, kidney, lungs. These are the different organs. Skin is also the organ, right? So when all these organs are arranged with each other for doing a particular job, they come to form the organ system. Okay. So can you name some of the organ systems? Yes, digestive system, circulatory system, excretory system, respiratory system, nervous system, endocrine system. These are the different types of systems which are present in our body, right? And now when these systems are together coordinating with each other and forming the whole organism, we call it as the whole organism. The body, it is totally forming the whole organism, right? Very good. Eyes, lungs, small intestine, these are the different organs. Very good, Anubhav. Yes. So the basic level of organization of our body is clear to you. Yes, the cells are the building block. Can you see over here the basic or the fundamental structure of all the living organism is the cell. So this is the basic or the fundamental unit we can see, right? So that is why I guess you will be able to understand, that is why cell is known as the fundamental unit of all living organism. Clear hai up to this much? Yes. So different cells form the tissue. Many tissues form the organ. Many organs together performing a function is making an organ system. And together, when all the organ systems are present and coordinating with each other, they are forming the whole organism. Up to this much clear? Yes. Okay. Chalo. So this is all about the basic idea of the cell, right? So these are the different types of cells which are present within our body. Can you name some of the cells? Yes. This is the RBC, the red blood cell. This one is the nerve cell. You can see the long structure. It is the neuron. Fine. Third one, we can see it is the small intestinal cell. Okay. The cell which are present within the small intestine, they have the villi over there, right? Which helps in more and more absorption of all the food. Yeah, food and nutrients. Then this one is the WBC, which we call as the white blood cells. Then this one is the sperm cell, that is the male gamete. Then this one is the ovum, which is the female gamete, and over here this one is the bone cell. So from here, from all this picture, this is clear to you that the cells are having the different structure, as well as they perform the different functions, right? And the various shape and sizes of the cells are present in our body. Yes, very good, Anubhav. It was RBC. Yes. So, what do you mean by cell by now? So, we have come to know about the cell, or the conclusion that the cell is a building block of all the living organism. Whether it is a very tiny bacteria to a large organism, all the living organism's body is made up of the cell. Right, so the cell is capable of independent existence, definitely, and carry out a lot of different types of function, the main vital functions of our body which help us to survive properly. What are they? It can be excretion, digestion, transportation, respiration, anything, right? So these all functions are very much important for the survival of each and every species on earth, and they are performed by the cell. So over here, cell has the independent existence and can carry out all the different types of functions. So this type of question will come to your exam. This is very important. Please note it down in your notebook that the cell is called the structural and functional unit of life. So this is also the definition of cell. Okay. So if you get one question, what do you mean by cell? Right. So what will you write for 1 mark? That the cell is called the structural and functional unit of life. Okay. Now for 2 mark you can get another question that cell is called the structural and functional unit of life. Now justify the statement or give a proper reason to it. Why the cell is known as the structural and functional unit of life? Yes, hi mother. Okay. So what will you answer over there? As the cell is performing, or they are arranged with each other to give a proper structure to the all the living organism, that is why we call the cells as the structural unit. Yes, it because it is giving us distinct structure to the living organism. And as the cells perform the very basic functions of all the living organisms, like respiration, excretion, nutrition, and all, transportation and all, that is why we can say that the cell is the functional unit of life. So up to this much clear now? If you get this type of question like why it is known as the structural and functional unit of life, what will you say? As it is giving a proper structure to all the living organism, whether it is a plant or animal or any microorganisms, that is why we are calling it as the structural unit. And as the cells perform all the vital activities of our life, that is why we call it as the functional unit of life. Clear head up to this much? Yes, I guess you will be able to write it properly in your own words. Now, coming to the microscope. So, why am I starting about microscope over here? Yes, this chapter was all about the cell. It is not about microscope. So, why will I study about microscope? Because cells are so tiny that we cannot see them, like the one cell we cannot see them through our naked eye, so we should use the microscope to see them properly. Fine. So all the cells are very tiny. Okay. So tiny that we cannot see through our naked eyes. Exceptions are always there, like if you think about the largest cell, that is the ostrich egg or the hen's egg. Okay, they are made up of one cell, but we can see them through our naked eyes. Other than this, if we think about the cells which are present in our body, we will not be able to see one cell from outside. Yeah, so we have to use the microscope. So what is microscope? Microscope is one type of device, or we can say it is one type of instrument which help us to see the tiniest thing or the very small thing which we cannot see through our naked eyes. Up to this much clear? If you get any question about what do you mean by microscope, I guess you will be able to give this definition for 1 mark. Yeah. Okay. Now what is the main purpose of microscope? Yes, any idea? What is the main purpose of microscope? To observe. It helps us to see everything, right? So what is the main thing we can observe over here? Why this microscope is needed, and in which field of science this microscope is mostly needed? To look into the different organisms or the different structures which are very tiny, right? So it is mostly used in biology, right? So the observation is a very essential part of biology. So we have already studied about what is biology and what were the different branches of biology in the previous session, remember? So for looking into all the different structure, whether it is like think about the bacteria, virus, or fungi. Like a lot of research is going on about the coronavirus now, right? So the coronavirus we cannot see over here and there, right? But we know that it is there. Yes, it is transmitting from one person to another when anybody is sneezing and coughing, and when the virus is there in that person, right? But we cannot see them. So how can we see them, and how can we study about the nature of the microorganism like this coronavirus? Under the microscope. So observation is an essential part of the science, and especially the biology and all the different branches of biology, may it be the genetics or cytology or microbiology or anything, immunology you can say, right? So all they need the microscope for the observation. So the different tiny things like the bacteria or any virus or anything which we cannot see through our naked eyes, we can see under the microscope, right? Yes, we can see with the help of microscope, not telescope. Okay, Anubhav. So for this reason, the microscope becomes a very important and widely used tool for the scientist. Clear up to this much? Yes. Okay, now we will come to know about the story of the invention of microscope. Who invented microscope? We do not know. Okay, so we only know that just at the last or the late 16th century and the early 17th century, one Dutch scientist, Antony van Leeuwenhoek, worked on the creation of the stronger lenses of microscope. Previous to that also the use of the microscope were there, but who actually invented the microscope is not known to us, right? But the main like the contribution for development of the stronger lenses of the microscope so that we can see a lot of different things under the microscope was done by Antony van Leeuwenhoek. Okay, so the different improvement of the microscope was given by him, and he first observed the tiny bacteria which were present in the moving water. Okay, it was first seen by Antony van Leeuwenhoek, as well as the different cells, the blood cells which are present in the blood capillaries. These are also seen by Antony van Leeuwenhoek. So please note down the name of the scientist. This is very important and you can get question from here. Now we will study about the parts of the microscope. So over here the microscope structure you can see. So this structure of microscope is a compound microscope. So there are various types of microscope, and for the detailed study of anything, electron microscope is used nowadays in the different research laboratories which help us to see the detailed structure of it. But we will study mainly about the compound microscope. Why? Because you are in the school level, right? So the compound microscope you can see in the biological lab if you go to the biological lab of your school, right? So this is a basic idea of the microscope or the basic microscope which are used in the different schools or the other institutions as well as the different colleges, right? If you don't go through the like detailed research type of thing, but you need to know about the microscope and the various types of things which you can see under the microscope, right? So what are the different parts of microscope? Let us see over here. Starting from the eyepiece, you can see, just look into the picture, okay, which I'm showing with the help of this pointer. So this is the eyepiece. What is the eyepiece? There is a proper type of lens which is present, which actually multiplies the vision or the power, whatever is present in the slide. So we can see like a 10x or 15x power is there in the eyepiece, where we will put our eyes and we will be able to see the specimen. Fine. Secondly is the body tube. This is the body tube which is connecting the eyepiece to the objective lenses. These are the objective lenses. Okay. So this much portion is known as the body tube. Third one is known as the arm. What is the arm over here? You can see it is starting from the body tube and it is connected with the base of the microscope. So this is the base and this one is the arm of the microscope. Fine. Now we will tell about the very important two things that are the adjustment knobs. Can you see the two knobs over here, this one and this one? So these two like adjustment knobs are very important, which you can rotate and keep a proper adjustment so that you will be able to see the specimen properly. Okay, so what are these adjustment knobs? First one is the coarse adjustment. This one is the coarse adjustment knob, which brings the specimen into a proper general focus that you will be able to see the specimen now. This type of focus is created by the coarse adjustment knob by rotating this. And what is the fine adjustment knob? This one, by rotating this, you will be able to focus on the detailed study of the species. Okay, whatever specimen is there in the slide, you will be able to find out, or you will be able to observe it in detail by adjusting the fine adjustment knob. Clear hai na up to this much? Yes, if you have any question, please ask me and write it in the chat box. Now, coming to the revolving nose piece. You can see over here, this is the revolving nose piece, and you can see the different lenses are attached with it. By rotating this nose piece, you will be able to like make out any of, you will be able to fix any of the objective lenses towards your slide, so that you will be able to see the slide properly with a proper type of with a proper type of power. Okay, now these are the objective lenses. There are 3 to 5 types of objective lenses which are fixed with this nose piece, and there are these, each of the lenses will have the different powers, right? What are the powers? It can range from 4x to 100x. Okay, so if you want to see any specimen for 50x, you will just choose the lens which is having the power of 50x. If you want to see the specimen properly clearly with 100x, okay, then you will choose the objective lens which will be 100x. Clear hai na up to this much? Yes, and you will fit it just on the slide so that you can make a proper focus on the slide and you will be able to see the specimen properly. Clear hai? Now let's move on to the specimen or the slide. So what is present on the slide? The specimen. It can be the bacteria or virus. It can be the very small tissue of the liver cells. Okay, so just get an idea, you want to see the liver cells, the cells which are present within our liver, right? So you have to take a small portion. After staining and dyeing and going through the different chemical process, you will keep it on the slide and mount it with the cover slip. Okay, and you will just put it on the stage. Okay, so this is the slide which is containing the thing which you want to observe. Okay, so you have to keep it on the stage. This circular thing is the stage where you have to put the slide and you will be able to see them. Yes, now coming to the stage clip. What is the stage clip? The two types of, this type of clips are present on the stage which help to hold the slide in a proper way so that the slide will not move here and there, right? To get a proper focus, you have to place the slide and you have to hold the slide in a proper particular position. These clips help to hold the slide in a proper position. Clear hai? Next, you can see the stage height adjustment. There is the knob which is present, where by revolving it you will be able to adjust the height of the stage, or you can move the stage left or right, so that the main focus of the specimen will come under the uh, objective lens. Fine. Then is the aperture, sorry. The hole is present just beneath this stage, which will help the light to pass through it, and the light will be focused on the slide only, because everything is transparent, right? So the slide is, whatever you are using, the slide is transparent, cover slip is transparent, everything is transparent, all the lenses and all, eyepiece also, you can see over here, all are transparent, so they will allow the light to pass through it. And definitely there will be a switch for switching on the light and switching off the light, which will be present basically on the base of the microscope, right? Next is illumination. So you need a light source to see everything, right? If there is no light, how will you be able to understand what is present within the slide? So basically, previously, the scientist or anybody who wants to observe anything under the microscope, they used the mirror. Okay, and over here you can see the mirror is there, so any sort of light source come onto it, and the mirror actually reflect the light into this one, in this direction, so that we will be able to see the specimen properly through the eyepiece. But nowadays the very low voltage bulb is also used, which is attached along with the microscope. Clear hai? Next is the iris diaphragm, which help the adjustment of the which helps in the adjustment of the um, light, how much light will come into it. Okay, this will be done by the microscope, like the iris diaphragm. Then the condenser is present, which gather and focus the light from the illuminator onto the specimen which we are viewing. Okay, then is the base. So this is the base which support the whole microscope, and it's where the illuminator is located. Okay, so this is all about the different parts of the microscope. So now let us see a video on to how to use the microscope.
If you were alive 200 years ago, you would have been given some very strange advice on how to avoid getting ill. You might have been told to carry sweet-smelling flowers with you or avoid going to smelly places. This was because at that time, people didn't understand that infectious diseases were caused by microorganisms. And they didn't know that because they couldn't see them. Microorganisms are so called because they can only be seen using a microscope. They are far too small to be seen with the naked eye. In fact, the invention of the light microscope opens up a whole new world to scientists, the microscopic world. A microscope magnifies objects and makes a larger image. This allows us to see objects in more detail. Resolving power, or resolution, is also a feature of microscopes. Resolution is the ability to distinguish two different points as being separate. Basically, using a microscope with a high resolution means that you can increase the magnification further without the image becoming blurry. The light microscopes you may use at school will have quite a low magnification and resolution, but they will still enable you to view individual cells. To use a microscope, you place a slide containing the specimen onto the stage and secure it using the clips. You first choose a lowest objective lens by turning round the nose piece. This is usually times 10 magnification. You then turn on the light. This might be by using an electric light or moving a mirror to reflect light onto the specimen. If you look down the eyepiece lens, you will see the image, but you'll probably need to use the focusing knobs to move the stage up and down until the image is clear and not blurry. You must be careful when moving the stage up not to knock into the objective lens, as this might break it. Now you can choose a higher magnification objective lens to see the specimen in more detail. You might have to readjust the focus. Now you can clearly see the specimen, you can draw it and write down the total magnification you used. This is calculated by multiplying the magnification of the eyepiece lens, which is normally times 10, by the magnification of the objective lens. You will also need to be able to use a magnification formula. Magnification equals size of image divided by size of real object. So, if the diameter of an image of a red blood cell in a book is 1 centimetre and the actual diameter of a red blood cell is 0.001 centimetres, then the magnification used must be 1 divided by 0.001 equals times 1000. The microscopic world has been opened up even further due to the invention of the electron microscope. These use beams of electrons to form images and have much higher magnifications and resolutions than light microscopes. They have enabled scientists to study objects in much more clarity and detail, from cell organelles like the nucleus and membrane to even smaller structures like individual atoms.
If you liked the video, give it a
So yeah, you have got an idea what are present within the microscope and how we can see and focus the different pictures in the microscope, right? Okay, now we will come to your answer. Yes, Anubhav, you have asked me who discovered the cell. Robert Hooke discovered the cell, right? Who was Robert Hooke? He was a British scientist who first observed the cell under the microscope. Okay, so this was the microscope, which one is a very primitive type of microscope, which was like used by Robert Hooke, and whatever observation he did, he wrote it within a book which is known as Micrographia. Please write down the name of the book which was uh, written by Robert Hooke, and he discovered the cell in the year of what? 1665. Always remember this type of question for objective you will get from your school examination, in your school examination, like who discovered microscope and when, and what is the book where he has written all the observations he had done by looking into the different cells under the microscope, right? So the book's name is Micrographia, and Robert Hooke discovered the cell in 1665. Clear, Anna? Okay. Now, what type of cell he first observed under the microscope? Do you have any idea what type of cell? Yes, he observed the cell of cork. Okay, the cork cell was first observed by him under the microscope. So, what is the cork cell? Yes, it is present in the bark of the trees. Okay, so just when he saw the cell, the cork cell under the microscope, it seems to be the very small boxes which were there in the microscope. Okay, so these blocks were actually having the nucleus and the different cell wall. Okay, these were only visible under the microscope. Up to this much clear na? So it reminded him about the small rooms of the monasteries where he spent his childhood, and that is why he gave the term of cell. What is meant by cell? Cell means little room. As it reminded him about the small rooms of his monastery, that is why he gave the name cell to whatever he saw under the microscope. Up to this much clear? Okay. Now, let me give you one thing to you. Okay. What you have already not seen it before. So, what will you observe with it? Any idea? If I give you a very unknown thing, you have not seen it before. So, what will you do with it? Have you ever encountered with this type of thing? First, you will observe it. Then, maybe you will ask to your parents. Maybe you will ask to your friends. You will discuss with your friends, and then you will make some of the assumptions, or we can say, like, you will give some explanation to those things, and definitely you will come to a conclusion like this seems to be like this. Its structure is like this. Its function is like this, and definitely you will give the explanation to it, right? The similar type of thing is also done by the scientist, right? So what is that? When the scientists come to know about the different things which they didn't see before, they first come to give some of the explanation to it, and they come to conclusion, right? So this type of explanation in science is known as the theories, right? And this basic theory of the biology is the cell theory, because you know that in biology means it is the study of the living organism, and the living organism, the study of the living organism definitely will include the cell. So without the cell, the living organism will not be able to like exist, right? And the cell are the basic fundamental unit, so definitely the theories which will come to the come about the cell will be the basic unit, or like the basic fundamental theories of biology, and this theory is known as the cell theory. Now we will study who discovered this cell theory. So it was first developed in the mid 19th century, and one of the most important foundation of biology. So who discovered it? Matthias Kleiden, Theodor Swan, and Rudolf Virchow. So please write down the names of the scientists. They together put forth the three basic tenets of the cell theory. So whatever, what is cell, and what is actually from where the cell is coming from, and where actually it is present, these are all explained by these three scientists. Clear hai? Now I would like to tell you who first gave the two basic tenets of the cell theory. That is Scladen and Swan. Okay, Matthias Scladen and Theodore Swan first gave the two basic statements of the cell theory. First one is all living things are made up of cell, and the second one is the cells are the basic unit and unit of structure and function in the living things. So these were the first two statements of the cell theory. Later on, Rudolf Virchow came and added another statement to this, that is, the living cells come only from the other living cells. In his words and his language, it seems to be cellular is cellular. What do you mean by that? That means cells come from the pre-existing cell. That means there is already a cell, like we can see it is a mother cell is already there. So from there, due to the cell division, the two daughter cells are forming. Okay, so from here we can conclude, or we have got an idea what is actually the cell. It is present in all living organism. It is the structural and functional unit of living organism, and it comes from other living cells. So these are the three main statements of cell theory. Clear hai? Please write it down. You will definitely get question from this portion. Fine. Okay, now we will study about the various types of organism based on the number of the cell. Okay, so what are the different types of organisms based on how many cells are present within their body? We can divide them into two main categories. One is the unicellular organism and second one is the multicellular organism. So what are the unicellular organism? Definitely the organism which are made up of only one cell. Uni matlab one, cellular matlab definitely cell. So when one cell is present within the organism, we call those organism as the unicellular organism. For example, amoeba, you can see this one is the amoeba, this is the euglena, and this one is the paramecium. Okay, other than this, the bacteria, fungi, some of them are also there which are unicellular, like the yeast. It is the fungi which is unicellular. Coming to the multicellular. Multicellular matlab multi means many, cellular means cell, definitely. So all the organisms which are made up of the collection of cells or many cells will come under this category, that is multicellular organism. For example, starting from all the different plants and animals, human being, cat, dog, tiger, lion, this will all come under the multicellular organism. Clear up to this much? If you have any question, please write it in the chat box. Okay, now let us see what are the unicellular and multicellular organism.
Did you know that some organisms exist of just one cell? These simple organisms, like amoeba, are unicellular. They depend on simple diffusion for life. They are usually too small to be visible with the naked eye, like bacteria, and so we need a microscope to see them. But there are some unicellular algae that are about 15 to 20 centimeters in size. All other organisms are multicellular. They consist of multiple cells and are more complex. The vast majority of plants and animals are multicellular. Being multicellular allows the organisms to be larger and have cell differentiation. So different types of cells to carry out different tasks. Groups of cells then function in the same way to form tissues or organs. These specialized organs carry out our life processes, working together in systems. Unicellular organisms can carry out all life processes in just the one cell, using internal structures called organelles. The decreased ability to share out life's processes means unicellular organisms have a low level of efficiency, whereas multicellular organisms are highly efficient, with division of labor at the cellular, tissue, or organ system level. Unicellular organisms cannot grow large because they are limited by a surface area to volume ratio, whereas multicellular organisms can increase the number of small cells to give it a large size overall. Multicellular organisms have long lifespans because individual cells have a relatively small workload, whereas the hard-working single cell of a unicellular organism has such a heavy workload that it can only maintain a very short lifespan. I don't need to tell you how we get nutrition, but how does a single cell manage it? Usually by phagocytosis, where the food is engulfed and then stored in food vacuoles inside the organism. All prokaryotes are unicellular. Eukaryotes can be uni or multicellular organisms. We look at the difference between pro and eukaryotes in this video. And we'll discover why the statement that all prokaryotes are unicellular is contended by some scientists, as well as prokaryotes. Most protists and some fungi like yeast are also unicellular. So there we have unicellular and multicellular organisms. Final thought to leave you with is that injury to the cell of a unicellular organism can cause death. That one cell is everything to them, whereas injury or death of some cells in multicellular organisms should not cause a problem. Those cells can simply be replaced.
If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe.
Okay, now you have got an idea about the unicellular and the multicellular organism, definitely, right? Yes? Any question about it? Okay, now let us move on to the what is present within the multicellular organism. So from where do the multicellular organism actually originate from? So we are the multicellular organism. Do you think that we have also come up from a single cell? Yes, definitely. Okay, so the cell has a specific type of capacity that is known as cell division. Okay, so the cell has the capacity to divide itself, and that is why they divide and divide to form a cluster of cell. So our life was also started from a single cell, which is the zygote. Okay, I guess you have already heard about zygote. When the sperm and the ovum fuse with each other during fertilization, they form the zygote, which is the single cell and the very first cell of the new generation. Now this zygote will again and again divide from the embryo, and from the embryo definitely the differentiation of the different bodily organs will be there, and definitely a very small baby will take birth, right? So we apart from having a lot of millions and millions cells within our body, we also started our journey from a single cell. Can you imagine? Yes. Okay. Now we will move on to the shape and size of the cell. So as you have already seen that the shape of the cells vary with each other, and the size is also dependent upon the function. Right. So what can be the shape of the cell? It can be oval, spherical shape, the rectangular, spindle shape, is sometimes very irregular shape. Okay, or sometimes very long shape. We can say it is the longest cell in our body is the nerve cell. Have you ever seen the nerve cell or the neuron? Yes. So the size of the cell also varies from one person to another, or one organism to another. Now tell me, do you think that the elephant is a very large animal, and that is why their cells are also large, and the rat is a very small animal, and that is why the cells of the rats are very small? No, it never happens. It never depends upon the size of the body of the organism. It actually depends upon the function which they are performing. Okay, so most of the cells are microscopic within our body. Definitely, the red blood cells are very small, and some are fairly large, like the long cells, which are the nerve cells. Fine. So, on what factor they depend on? All the shape of the cell mainly depends on their function, what type of function they are actually performing, right? So you have already seen that in the multicellular organism, definitely each and every cell have their different function, and they also have certain parts within the cell which are known as the cellular organelles, which are capable of doing the different functions, and together they are maintaining the whole bodily function and helps in our survival. Clear hai na? So these cells are capable of changing their shape. Some of them, like the amoeba, or we can say the white blood cells, which are present within our body. So these are the different shapes of the cell, right? So what are they depend on? Their functions. Now tell me, how can the cells perform different function in an organism? Yes, if the cells are same, then definitely they will have to they are performing the different functions, right? How it is possible? because within the cell there are also the different components, the different other parts are present within the cell. What are they called? They are known as the cellular organelles or organelles. So each and every cell organelles we will study in detail in the next session, that each and every organelle have their specific function. Okay, for example, if I talk about the nucleus, they carry the hereditary material from one generation to another. If I talk about mitochondria, they are known as the powerhouse of the cell because they generate energy in the form of ATP. If I think about the ribosome, so the ribosomes help in the protein synthesis. So each and every cell organelles which are present within the cell, they have their own function, and that is why together they perform the function of the whole living organism. Clear hai? Thus, the organelles allow a cell to perform several kinds of activities within the living organism. Okay, now got it? Okay, now let's watch a very small video on what are cells.
The cell is the basic unit of life. Some living organisms, such as animals and plants, are made of hundreds of trillions of these basic units of life called cells. Animal cells. A typical animal cell will include a nucleus, a cell membrane, and a cell cytoplasm. The nucleus is the structure that contains the genetic information, otherwise known as DNA, and it controls the actions and the reactions of the cell. The cell membrane, which is the border of the cell, acts as the gatekeeper, and it controls what enters and exits the cell, as well as enabling neighbouring cells to stick to one another. The cell cytoplasm is the site of the cell's chemical reactions. Lots of chemical reactions occur here, such as respiration. Respiration takes place in specialized structures called mitochondria. Plant cells. Plant cells contain the structures that animal cells contain, that we've just discussed, the nucleus, the cytoplasm, and the cell membrane, but they also include lots of extra structures. For example, they contain a cell wall. A cell wall is made of cellulose, and this structure provides support for the shape of the cell. Plant cells also contain chloroplasts, which are filled with a chemical called chlorophyll. Chlorophyll enables plant cells to absorb light, so it can be used in photosynthesis. Chlorophyll is also the substance that gives plants its green colour. Finally, plant cells also contain structures known as vacuoles. These are filled with a watery substance which contains dissolved sugars called cell sap. The role of the vacuole is to provide support for the cell shape and to store sugars. Specialized cells. So some cells are specialized. They are able to carry out particular jobs. The specialized cells we will look at are red blood cells, nerve cells, and white blood cells. Red blood cells do not possess a nucleus. This is so that they've got enough space to be able to absorb and transport as much oxygen as possible. Nerve cells are specialized in that they have branched endings called dendrites. This is so they can communicate with lots of other nerve cells. You will also notice they have long axons along which the electrical message can travel. Finally, white blood cells enable us to fight infections. They can be identified by the characteristic lobed nucleus. White blood cells have a flexible cytoplasm so that they can engulf pathogens in a process called phagocytosis. Some other white blood cells are specialized to produce antibodies, and it's these antibodies that fight pathogens.
Okay, so we have also come to know about a lot of the different types of cells as well as what are actually present within the cell, right? So we will study in detail what are actually present within the cell in the next session also. So this is the basic things which are present within the cell, and the basic idea I can see that you have already got about the cell, right? So these are the different types of cells which are present within our body. You can see, you have already seen in the video also, that is the red blood cells which which are present within our body, which are present mainly in the blood, definitely. Then the nerve cells, which carry the different impulses from the different organs towards our brain, as well as coming like taking the impulses from the brain to the different organs. Then coming to the intestinal cells, which are present within the small intestine and help in the absorption more of the nutrients. Then this is the white blood cells. Perform the process of phagocytosis. This is the sperm cell, this is the ovum. These are the two male and female gametes respectively, which are present or produced in the organism and the female organism, definitely. And these are the bone cells, okay, which are present in the bones. So these are the different types of cells which are present within human body. So I guess you have already got an idea what is cell, what is cell theory, how it was discovered, who discovered it, and what is microscope. So these are the different things which we have already learned today. What is cell, invention of the microscope, history of the cell, who discovered it, and the cell theory. These are the very important portion which we have discussed today. And different types of questions also I have already discussed in between, that what type of question you will get in your school exam. Okay, so if you have any confusion or any doubt, please write it in the chat box. So today our student of the session is definitely Anubhav. Anubhav has given me most of the answers correctly. Okay, so today this is student of the session is Anubhav, and we will definitely study a lot about the cell in the next session. Okay, so thank you for being with us, and we will again meet in the next session. So let me remind you once again what to do. You please subscribe our channel in YouTube and press the bell icon so that you will never miss any of the update of the upcoming session. So stay with Swiflearn, learn with us, and please like, comment and share with your friends and family members. We will again meet in the next session. So till then, bye bye, take care, stay safe and stay healthy.